Welcome to Module 3 of the Documenting NEPA Categorical Exclusion course, brought to you by the Local Programs Office of the Washington State Department of Transportation. This module will cover the topics of air quality and critical areas that are located on the CE form. You may find it helpful to follow along with the CE form, which is available on the Local Programs Environmental Services website. There are multiple modules hosted on our website, so be sure to watch them all.
Part 4, Number 1 addresses air quality. Local agencies must consider the potential impacts from a project on air quality for all non-exempt projects located within non-attainment or maintenance areas. When an area does not meet national air quality standards, the area is classified as non-attainment. When an area returns to meeting national air quality standards, the area is reclassified as in attainment and enters a maintenance status. Once it has reached this status, a maintenance plan is required and must include strategies to keep meeting national air quality standards in the area for 20 years. There are currently no non-attainment areas in Washington State. There are maintenance plans for carbon monoxide and particulate matter. Project exemptions from air quality conformity regulations can be found in Appendix G of the guidebook. If the project is exempt, no further air quality review is required. Some of the projects that fall into this category are shoulder improvements, guardrails, pavement resurfacing, lighting improvements, medians, and bicycle and pedestrian facilities. If a project is not exempt, you will need to know if the project falls within an air quality area. The current maintenance areas are for carbon monoxide and particulate matter. The particulate matter, which is also known as PM, is broken into two different categories. These are PM10 and PM2.5. PM10 are particles with diameters that are generally 10 micrometers and smaller. PM2.5 are 2.5 micrometers or smaller in diameter and are also known as fine particles. These fine particles pose greater health risks than PM10 and are also the main cause of reduced visibility. The Washington State Department of Ecology has a website that contains an interactive air quality map that shows the maintenance areas throughout the state. This map allows you to zoom into the project location so you can distinguish the exact boundaries of an air quality area. There are currently 4 areas that are in the maintenance period. All of these areas have maintenance plans for particulate matter, and 2 areas have plans for carbon monoxide. If the project is within an air quality area and is not exempt, additional documentation may be needed. For example, projects that add a signal, left turn lane, increase capacity, or reduce the level of service will need to provide more documentation. This documentation may include a hotspot analysis. Get in touch with the local program's environmental contact if your project falls into this category. They can help you determine what will be needed. Section 4.2 addresses critical and sensitive areas. Critical and sensitive areas can be thought of as landforms that provide important ecological functions within their surrounding environments. The Critical and Sensitive Areas section consists of 4 different topics. These topics are sole source aquifers, impacts to wildlife, rare plants, and habitats not addressed by the Endangered Species Act, eagles, and wetlands. Sole source aquifers are designated by the Environmental Protection Agency because they provide the sole source of drinking water for an area. If the project is within a sole source aquifer, the project may be exempt. Appendix H in the guidebook lists the type of projects that do not need any further review based on a memorandum of understanding between the Federal Highway Administration, Environmental Protection Agency, and the Washington State Department of Transportation. If the project does not exempt, answer the questions in Attachment C, which is also found in Appendix H. These questions will determine whether the Environmental Protection Agency needs to be contacted for approval. In order to figure out if the project is within a sole source aquifer, the Environmental Protection Agency has interactive maps that will show these areas. Local planning and water resource departments can also help determine this. Question 2B addresses designated priority species, designated priority habitats, state-listed rare plants, and impacts to wildlife or their habitat that could create an impact to the road. The Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife is the best resource for obtaining information about known priority species and habitats. The Washington State Department of Natural Resources Natural Heritage Program can provide assistance in determining the presence of state-listed rare plants. Also check the local Critical Areas Ordinance for habitats and species that may be regulated. If impacts to species, habitats, or plants occur, this could trigger possible mitigation or additional design considerations. These items should be discussed in this section. Question 2C addresses bald and golden eagles. If it is unknown whether or not eagles are present within 1 mile of the project area, check in with the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife Area Habitat Biologist. Other good resources to check in with are local maintenance and field staff. If it is determined that eagles are present within 1 mile, go to the United States Fish and Wildlife Services Eagle website and work through Do I Need a Permit? The Do I Need a Permit tool will ask you a series of questions. These questions will ask you about the type of activities that will be conducted during the project and how far the eagles are located from the project area. Once you work through the Do I Need a Permit questions, there may be a few different outcomes. One of the outcomes may say, No permit needed. You may then print the certificate, sign, and submit with the environmental documentation. Some of the certificates may have timing restrictions for the project. The other two outcomes may be that you need technical assistance or you likely need a permit. If the project receives either one of these, get in touch with your local program's environmental contact. The environmental group can help with the appropriate next steps. Question 2D addresses wetlands and streams. If wetlands are present, a wetland delineation report will need to be submitted with the rest of the project documentation. Other reports that should be included, if available, are critical areas and mitigation reports. If a mitigation report is not complete, there must be at least some sort of documentation that discloses any impacts. The documentation will also need to discuss what is being done for mitigation. This includes where the mitigation will be located and the type of compensatory mitigation. If the mitigation will be a bank site or in lieu fee, the documentation must state what site or program will be used.
Thank you for watching this module of the Documenting NEPA Categorical Exclusion course. There are other modules available on our website, so be sure to check them out.